Hey everyone, welcome back to the JavaScript for Beginners tutorial series. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most important tools in programming, and that is loops. We can think of loops as a way to repeat actions over and over again until a condition is met. They help us save time and make our code smarter. They help us repeat actions in our code without ever having to type them over and over again. So we're going to be learning about for loops and while loops and how they can save you a lot of time when working with numbers, words, and even lists. As always, we're going to be using playcode.io so you can code right in your browser. So without further ado, let's jump in. Alright, so let's build our first for loop together. I'll type it out first and we'll explain each part. Like the name implies, you have to first type in for, and we'll open up our parentheses. Inside of this parentheses, we're going to have three parts. The first part is let I equal 1, semicolon. So let I equals 1. This starts the counter at 1. For this example, and the next part is going to be I where is less than or equal to 5, semicolon. This is going to be the condition. The loop keeps going as long as I is less than or equal to 5. And then lastly, the third part is I plus plus. This is going to say to the loop, add 1 to I every time the loop runs. Then we're going to open our for loop with some curly brackets. Inside of these curly brackets is what is going to run each time the loop repeats. So in this case, we want to print out the value of I to the console. So we will say console.log I. So you can see here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our for loop ran 5 times because it started out 1 and it ran all the way up to less than or equal 5. So when I becomes 6, the condition is false and the loop stops. So let's go ahead and we can try one more example with this. For this time, get rid of our for loop and we'll start from the beginning again. So for, open parentheses, let letter of hello. Print, open our curly brackets and say console.log letter. Oops, let me fix this real quick. So there we can see you can even break down a string. So this loop goes through each letter in the word hello and prints it out. That's another common use of loops, going through each item in a string. So now that we've covered the for loop, let's go ahead and move on to the while loop. So let's get rid of this. Now, the while loop looks very similar, but it is a little bit different. The while loop acts the same as the for loop earlier, except for we start with by setting our counter first outside of the loop. So in this case, we're going to say create our variable, let count equals 1. Then we say while count is less than or equal to 5, keep running this code. So let's set that up. So say while count is less than or equal to 5, kind of similar to the for loop, console.log count, semicolon, and then we'll add our count plus plus, saying add 1 to count every time we loop through. So inside the loop, we log the number and then increase it by 1. So the same as the for loop, it's the results 1 through 5. And then one last quick tip, with loops, always make sure your condition changes eventually. If not, your loop could run forever and crash your code. That would be called an infinite loop, and trust me, you don't want that. It can cause a lot of problems. By adding this count plus plus, we're ensuring that our count here is increasing, and at some point the loop will end. Now, we can go ahead and show you an example of if we were to take out that count plus plus, you can already see we've ran it 1,402 and more. So that is an example of an infinite loop. Alright, and then for a bonus quick preview, even though we haven't covered arrays yet, here's how loops can work with lists. So let's go ahead and create our first list. Let's say let fruits equals, and this time we're going to put the regular brackets. Put in our first string, apple, banana. We'll separate these by commas. We'll maybe put orange in our list. Put a semicolon at the end, and then this time we'll do a for loop. So we'll open that up, set I equals 0, semicolon. I is less than fruits dot length. This says counts how many items are in our list, and it says while I is less than that amount, we'll commence our for loop. And then, as always, our I++, open up our curly brackets, we'll say console.log fruits I. And then we'll add our semicolon. Alright, so we can see apple, banana, orange. This loop prints each fruit in the list. Even if you don't fully understand arrays yet, that's okay. We'll break them down in the next video. So to wrap up, today we learned how to use loops to repeat tasks in JavaScript. We covered for loops. They're great when you know how many times you want to repeat. While loops, they're good when you want to repeat until something happens. And we even peeked at looping through strings and arrays. Loops are one of the most powerful tools in any language, and we're just getting started. So if this helped you, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more beginner-friendly JavaScript videos. In the next video, we'll finally dive into arrays and objects, what they are, how they work, and how to use them. Thanks again for learning with me, and I'll see you in the next one.